Isn't she lovely evermore? I'm thinking about being glowy and shiny. I ran into a friend of mine recently who I hadn't seen in a while, and she was just shining, like light pouring out of her eyes, this just glow about her, and she was newly in love. And isn't that what we really want in our lives? Is to be filled with the light of love, is to be moving through our days delighted and radiating that joy and that love. And it feels nearly impossible these days, but this is what the mystics are talking about. This is what Matthew Fox and our guiding idea for the year of falling in love with everything more deeply, falling in love with life itself more fully, to become more alive as the truth of who you are right now in these times. And because you have a practice, because you learn how to tap into the sacred, right? The sacred irises that are blooming right now, that are blowing my mind, helping me to fall in love every day right now. And there's ways that you and I can do that, which we're going to do this month. So join me. We're going to be sound bathing. We are going to be singing and chanting and moving in meditation. And you'll have an opportunity in the Albuquerque area to get into the practice of ritual and ceremony this solstice. Learning how to create intention in the sacred every day so that you can glow up and have your spiritual glow up. I love you so much. Happy glowing. I squint real tight. I can look past the chaos. I can actually look into the heart of it and begin to see glimpses of beauty, glimpses of the divine at play. When I think about how to be committed to a spiritual life in this moment in life, in this moment in history, in my own personal life, with more loss of loved ones than I've experienced ever, with more ongoing heartache for the state of the world. And it's so easy to turn away, to numb out, to want to put my head in the sand and try everything I know to do to feel less. And yet there is this offer from the divine that says, come rest in me. Come lay your burden down on the altar of love. Come open yourself up more deeply, more fully to this experience. Because, beloved, I am there. I am. This is what is available to you and I. And it seems counterintuitive right now, I think, to be fully awake, to be fully open and raw to the experience of life, to feel it. It seems counterintuitive to say, I'm going to look more deeply at my heartbreak. I'm going to sit still long enough to feel all that I feel, all the grief that I feel, all of the fear and rage and just heartbreak that I feel. But when I bring God into it, when I go sit at my altar to purposefully feel all that is mine to feel, and I light a candle, I am instantly reminded, I am not alone. Lyrics to a song that I sing with my singing circle. I am not alone, I am not alone, I am not alone. Begin to play in my head, reminding me that I have a place to go with all that is. And when I do that, I am instantly beginning to experience something other than my heartbreak. I feel something bigger and juicier and sweeter in those moments where I choose to lay my burdens down with God, where I go into a ritual that invites the power of the divine into my experience, and I can feel it. Right? I can feel those sparks. I can feel the arms of love itself holding me. And this reminds me that I can be in love at all times and all circumstances. And maybe this practice of ritual, which is what we're going to be talking about all month long, this way of taking what is on your heart, what is heavy in your life, what is difficult or confusing or unsure or unknown, taking it intentionally in action with practice, with lighting a candle, with sitting at the altar, taking that to your prayer life, taking that to your daily life, making your pain sacred, and knowing because you practice these rituals, you can be aligned again with something greater. And this is how you and I can meet the challenges of these times, and not only meet it, but be brought, because we are heartbroken and because we take that heartbreak to the altar, because you light a candle for the latest tragedy, you bring yourself more fully awake to the love that is, to the life of God that is moving through you. And this is how you begin to harness the power of God, of the divine, as you, through you. Not because you shut down and numb out and turn away, but because you let yourself go deeper into how you are feeling, and you use that moment as a reminder, oh, let me go to God. I am not alone. Let me use my tools. Let me light a candle. Let me ritualize this moment of pain, of heartache, of grief, of fear, of rage, of disappointment, of not knowing, of feeling unsure, insecure. Taking that as the pointer, the reminder, like, oh, let me pull on the great power that is available to me in every moment and bring that into this moment. And because that becomes a practice, when you and I can make a habit of the sacred, we become filled with the light of that love. And my great prayer for you and I, in this moment in history, in this time, with this series, with this practice of getting into ritual and ceremony, of making the sacred real, that you and I become filled with the light of love, and it spills over onto everyone and everything we come into contact with. This is actually a route of liberation, right? This is one of the ways we steal away in the night, in the chaos, and go to freedom, because we have a practice of calling in, harnessing the power of the divine, of the unseen, of the subtle realms, and letting it power our lives. I want to share Malidoma Samay, who was a West African teacher who was in the US teaching ritual and many other things. But he said a sacred life is a ritualized life that is one that draws constantly from the realm of the spiritual to handle even the smallest situation. A sacred life is a ritualized life that draws constantly from the realm of the spiritual. Y'all, I can't think of anything we need right now more than to draw on the realm of the spiritual. I can't think of any way to freedom and liberation. I'm thinking of Harriet Tubman and the stories we know of how she made those trips as many times as she made those trips. But she relied on spirit to guide her, right? She would listen to the trees. She would look to the moon's guidance. She would be so tuned in to the signals and the nudges of spirit to guide her in those trips, in those liberation journeys. And you and I have the same possibility. You know, and our theme this year, which is to follow the mystic's path of falling in love with life itself, isn't just a woo-woo situation so that you can ignore the reality of life. That is not at all what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about spiritual bypass. I am talking about harnessing the power of the divine, of the spiritual realm, to meet the realities that you and I are facing. To get ourselves so plugged into the sacred, to ritualize our lives, to fortify ourselves, to be the medicine, to find the medicine through our spiritual life so that we can be the medicine for these times. And because you harness the power of the divine, because you make your life sacred, you can then fill yourself because you connect, because you plug in through ritual, through ceremony. And even if you don't know what that means or how, we're going to spend some time doing that together this month, particularly if you're in the Albuquerque area. But if you're not, get on the app. Use the prompts. We've got rituals, we've got journal questions, we've got ways for you to build an altar, to build a practice, a simple gratitude morning practice, to begin to ritualize your life, as Malidoma is teaching us, so that you and I can be powered by that, to be filled by the power of the divine, to be so filled with it that even in these moments when we are heartbroken, we can take our heartbreak to the altar and be reminded how loved we are. We can walk out into our gardens, out into nature, and fall in love with the beauty that is bursting everywhere right now this spring. And be reminded every day, throughout the day, because we ritualize, we make a habit of making the mundane sacred. And it's in these rituals, right, that you and I can actually touch and feel the spirit moving, right? So when I just simply light a candle, I can instantly remember, oh, the light is ever available. I can just choose to light this candle and be reminded. And I can feel that. I can feel the heat of the flame. I can feel a little bit of that light on my skin. That can sometimes be just enough to bring me back to center. You know, the falling in love feeling that we sometimes get in romantic relationships, or when we're hanging out with babies and kids and we just are filled with feelings of delight. We can ritualize that rather than thinking about habit stacking and, having better behavior, right, on a regular basis, which is what a good habit is. We make a habit of sacredness. I can go cut flowers to make a bouquet to set on my altar to remind me that I am to nature and that I am in relationship with all that is, rather than just making it pretty. I set an intention. I ground myself in the wholeness of life itself through these flowers, right? making a ritual of bath time, which our beloved Clarissa, practitioner in this community, has a wonderful story that I hope she'll share with us this month about the way she sets up her bath time, the cleaning of the tub, the choosing of the scents and the sounds and the lighting is a way to bring the sacred into the mundane. And because you and I do that, we become filled with the light of love. We fall in love more deeply with our lives, and we become the medicine needed for these times. You will watch your life become more filled with the light of love because you are looking for it. You created the intention for it. You become powered by the realm of spirit, the realm that is subtle and often unseen, but more powerful than the stories and the narratives and the disease of modern life, the hurry and the rush and the greed and the violence and the separation and the supremacy. All of these diseases of modern life are less powerful, rule you less, steal your attention, right? Your intention, less and less and less. They have less hold over you, less say about how your life goes when you make a habit of the sacred. This, my love, is how you glow up. Your spiritual glow up, undeniable, cannot be messed with. And your spiritual glow up is how the light of the world begins to change. How the liberation that you seek to be free of whatever is holding you back, how your relationships get sweeter, how your finances flow with more ease because you are connected to the greatest power in the universe. This is the glow up you and I deserve and get to move towards. Because as Malidoma Somé told us, we can ritualize our lives. We can make our day-to-day lives sacred. And this is my prayer for us. May you be so in love. May you be so filled with the light of love that it spills out everywhere, on everybody, changing your life, your beloved's lives, your community's lives, the world's life for better. So it is.